Welcome to the Emotional Balance Sheet, the financial planning podcast for parents who are senior level professionals with kids in school or college. If you're tired of stitching together 4 different specialists to run your financial life, you're in the right place. I'm Paul Fenner, certified financial planner, enrolled agent, and founder of Tama Capital. I also have 4 kids, including a set of triplets, so I know the pace. Let's get into today's conversation.
Hi, and welcome back. It's possible to make good decisions that don't work, bad decisions that work beautifully, and random decisions that may go either way. Few industries are like that, but it's a central feature of stock markets. That is a point I recently reread by Morgan Housel that I want to focus on in today's conversation. And I read that and thought about all the families I sit with who come up through engineering, operations, medicine, manufacturing. And at one point in time, that was me. That was my career. But these are people who are very good at their jobs. And there's a rhythm to it. You do the work, you follow the process, and most of the time, the results follow. Effort and outcome are connected. That's how you get to be a director or VP or chief of something. And then those people bring that same wiring to their money, to the financial side of their lives. And money doesn't play by those rules. I've had this conversation probably more times than I can count. And it kind of goes something like this. A household has a big chunk of their net worth tied up in their company stock. Shares that vest, options, and stock they kept just because the company's been good to them. And at some point, we talked about trimming those big positions, selling some of it down so their family's future isn't riding on the company's next quarterly earnings. So they sell some, they do the responsible thing, and then the stock climbs for the next 2 years or more, I've seen. And now, every time they look at it, that good decision feels like a mistake. They can tell you the exact dollar amount they left on the table. That's how much it stings. Or it goes the other way. They hold the whole position because selling felt like a bet against their own employer or maybe even themselves. And then a bad quarter takes a big chunk out of it. And holding feels reckless in hindsight. Here's what I try to say to families in that situation. The decision and the outcome are 2 different things. You can make a really good decision and still get an outcome you don't like because you don't have control over the outcome. You never did. Think about years ago, I walked away from my corporate career. I was CFO at the time. I've been director of financial operations. A lot of people reporting to me at any given time. It was great salary, and I left it to build something smaller. And at the time, plenty of people I respected thought that was a very questionable call. And some people thought I was outright stupid. And for a while, honestly, the scoreboard agreed with them. It was hard building Tama. It still is hard. It was uncertain. But if you judge that decision by the first couple of years, you would have said I got it wrong. But that decision wasn't wrong. It was sound for what Teresa and I wanted for our lives and what we wanted to do with our family. The outcome just took its time, and it was never fully in my hands. I think it's really hard to separate those 2 things when you're living inside them. And this is the part that I want to sit with the most. And it's in most of our careers, a good process gives you a good result often enough that you start to believe you're in control. Markets quietly teach you the opposite. And believe me, do I know. They teach it slowly, which makes it easy to miss. So when a money decision looks bad, the question is, didn't it work? The question is, was it the right call for my family when I needed it at that point in time? Those are completely different questions. One you can answer honestly. The other depends on luck you were never promised. And that's the danger of grading yourself on these outcomes, is that it pushes you towards worse decisions the next time this comes up. If selling looked like a mistake because the stock ran up, you'll hold it too long next time. If holding burned you, you'll sell the next one at the bottom. Chasing outcomes is how smart people talk themselves into a worse plan. So here's something small that you can try this week or think about. Pick one money decision you keep replaying in your head, the one you second guess. And instead of asking whether it paid off, ask whether it was sound when you made the decision, with what you knew and what your family needed at that point in time. If it was, you're allowed to let it go, no matter what the scoreboard says now. So always remember, money is a number, enough is a story. Make sure you're writing your own. And if this conversation resonated with you, I take on a small number of new families each year here at TAMA. You can visit our website at tamacapital.com to schedule a conversation, or click the link in the show notes. That's it for this week. We'll see you next time. Now for the fine print. This podcast is for educational purposes only and is not personalized financial, tax, or legal advice. Before making any decisions about your specific situation, please work with a qualified professional. TAMA Capital is a registered investment advisor.